Most people begin to slow down after 70, but not everyone. There's a rare group of men and women who defy that trend, who keep moving, keep learning, and keep leading long after others begin to fade. They're not lucky. They're not superhuman. They've simply preserved a set of vital skills most others have let slip away. And because of that, they've bought themselves something priceless. More time. If you're between 70 and 80 and can still do the following 8 things, you belong to a rare class. Each one is a quiet but powerful marker of strength, clarity, and biological youth. And if you can't do all 8 yet, don't worry. This isn't about shame. It's about awareness. Because in the next few minutes, you'll learn exactly what to rebuild and how to protect the decades still ahead of you. Stay with me until the end, because the final sign, it's the single greatest predictor of whether you'll thrive or slowly begin to disappear. You can get up from the floor without help. Forget fancy diagnostics. Forget blood panels, wearable trackers, or expensive medical tests. There's one physical skill that quietly reveals more about your health, independence, and future than almost anything else. It's simple. It doesn't require equipment. You don't need a doctor. All you need is a patch of floor. Now try this. Sit down on the ground, then stand back up, without using your hands, your knees, a chair, or another person. Can you do it? It sounds basic, but this one ability tells the truth. It reveals more about your functional health than nearly any test in the world, because it doesn't just measure muscle, it measures integration. It asks, can your core stabilize? Can your hips move freely? Can your balance hold? Can your brain and body communicate instantly and clearly? If even one of those systems is off, this test exposes it immediately. And here's what's fascinating. Studies show that seniors who can rise from the floor unaided have a significantly lower risk of early death. One landmark study in the European Journal of Preventive Cardiology found that people over 50 who could do this had up to 5 times the life expectancy of those who couldn't. Why? Because the ability to rise from the ground, against gravity, under your own control, isn't just about muscle. It's about resilience. When you can do this, your body sends a message to your brain. This body is still strong, still capable, still safe. That signal ripples through your nervous system. It regulates hormones. It calms the mind. It boosts emotional confidence. And most importantly, it cuts your fall risk dramatically. Because the real danger in the old age isn't the fall. It's not being able to get back up. Think about it. If you trip in the kitchen, slip in the shower, or stumble on a sidewalk, what determines the outcome isn't just the fall itself. It's whether or not you can rise again. And that ability, it doesn't come from walking alone. It comes from floor work, from sitting, shifting, pivoting, pressing your body up from the ground. Movements most adults avoid after 60 and then tragically lose forever. But here's the hope. This skill can be rebuilt. You're not too old. You're not too stiff. You're not too far gone. With the right movement, the right consistency, and the right mindset, you can train your body to respond again, to trust itself again, to get up again, literally and metaphorically. But if you can still carry your own groceries, your body is quietly telling you something profound. You are aging well. Because this isn't just about lifting bags. It's about independence. It's about strength. And it's about the quiet resilience of your nervous system. More than that, it's about what your hands reveal. About your heart, your brain, and your future. Grip strength may seem like a minor fitness metric, but research says otherwise. According to studies published in The Lancet, the Journal of Gerontology, and multiple global aging institutes, grip strength is one of the most powerful predictors of early mortality. In fact, it can reveal more about your health trajectory than blood pressure, cholesterol, or even body weight. Why? Because grip strength reflects overall vitality. When your hands are strong, it means your nervous system is firing, your muscles are responsive, your bones are bearing load, and your cardiovascular system is engaged. But when grip weakens, not from injury, but from disuse, something else begins to happen. Your body starts to quietly shut down. Muscles shrink, blood flow slows, balance grows shaky, and your confidence begins to slip. You stop opening jars, you hesitate to lift objects, you avoid carrying bags from the trunk. Little by little, your world begins to shrink, not because of age, but because of disuse. And here's what no one tells you. You can stop that decline. You can reverse the slide. Even if you're in your 70s or 80s, even if your hands ache, even if you've been sedentary for years, your muscles have not forgotten. They're just waiting for the signal. And that signal begins the moment you choose to challenge them. Gently, consistently, and with intention. Carrying your own groceries is one of the clearest, simplest functional tests. Can you lift a bag without pain? Can you carry it across the room without dropping it? Can you shift something in the kitchen without straining? If the answer is yes, that's not just a practical win. It's a marker of cellular health. It means your joints still move in harmony. Your bones are still loading. Your grip hasn't faded with time. But if the answer is no, if bags feel heavier than they used to, if your fingers weaken, if your wrists tremble, don't ignore it. That's not just weakness. That's a message. A request from your body for help. Not for pills, not for surgery, but for movement, for resistance, for nourishment. Here's what happens when you train your grip. Your brain sharpens. Cognitive research shows that grip strength directly correlates with mental function. Seniors with strong hands tend to have better memory, quicker reaction times, and fewer signs of cognitive decline. Because grip strength is more than physical, it reflects how well your brain communicates with your body, how fast your nerves fire, how stable your spine remains. When your grip fades, your mind follows. But when your grip returns, your clarity often does too. Grip strength also supports your heart. Every time you hold weight, your cardiovascular system responds. Blood pumps efficiently, vessels dilate, heart rate stabilizes under gentle pressure. And unlike intense cardio, grip training is low impact. You don't need to run or jump, you just need to hold. Try this. Dead hangs from a bar. Even with feet lightly on the ground, a light kettlebell carry around the house, squeezing a towel for 10 seconds, using a hand gripper while watching TV. These movements seem small, but they reconnect the nervous system. They reawaken dormant pathways in your fingers, strengthen your forearms, and most importantly, remind your brain, these hands still work. And remember, your hands are not just tools, they're messengers. They reflect how much you still participate in life, how much you cook, clean, lift, carry, support, protect. When your hands are strong, your posture improves, your gait becomes steadier, your breath deepens, your presence returns. That's why this isn't about vanity or toughness. It's about freedom. The freedom to carry your own bag, to grab your own suitcase, to pick up your grandchild, to open your own jar, to live without hesitation. That is dignity, that is health, that is power. So the next time you carry a bag into your kitchen, pause. Feel the firmness in your grip, the steadiness in your wrists, the quiet confidence in your stride. That is your health speaking. You can remember names, tasks, and details without confusion. There's something sacred about memory, not just because it helps us remember birthdays, appointments, or where we left our keys, but because memory holds the essence of who we are. It holds our history, our relationships, our stories. And when we can still access those clearly, even in our 70s or 80s, we haven't just aged well, we've protected something deeply human. Most people believe memory loss is inevitable with age, that it's normal to forget names, that it's expected to lose track of time, that repeating a story twice in one meal is just part of growing old. But that's only half true. Yes, some cognitive slowdown is natural, but confusion, disorientation, forgetting familiar faces or daily routines, that's not normal, that's a warning. So if you're still able to remember people's names, if you can hold a sharp conversation without drifting, if you know what day it is, where you need to be, and why you walked into a room, then your brain is still firing strong, and that isn't luck. That isn't coincidence. That is earned. That clarity you still possess. The ability to recall names, details, appointments is not random. It's the result of a lifetime of engagement, a lifetime of reading, solving, writing, moving, connecting, learning, and staying mentally active, even when no one was watching. Because cognitive health doesn't just happen in the brain. It happens in the nervous system. It happens in the gut. It happens in the habits you repeat or neglect every single day. The brain is not a storage box that simply wears down with time. It's a living, breathing organ, and like any living system, it thrives under the right conditions and weakens under the wrong ones. And one of the most important conditions is use. If you don't use your mind, it retreats. If you stop learning, you stop retaining. If you stop asking questions, you stop caring about answers. If you stop exploring, your neurons stop growing. The connections between thoughts begin to shrink. And slowly, the fog rolls in. But if you still remember people's names, if you still pay your bills, keep appointments, tell stories clearly, or recall jokes well enough to share, then your brain is still alive, still active, still connected to the world around you. And that is a skill, that is a discipline, and it is a gift, one that must be protected. Because when memory begins to erode, it doesn't just affect how you think, it affects how you connect. When you forget names, you pull back from people. When you lose track of conversations, you start speaking less. When you doubt your words, you stop telling stories. You stop laughing. You stop leading. You stop participating. Not because you want to, but because you no longer feel sure. That's the real danger of cognitive decline. Not just the forgetfulness, but the withdrawal it creates, the shrinking of your voice, the fading of your identity. And once that happens, it's not just the brain that suffers. The heart follows, the body slows, the motivation fades, because without clarity, we begin to feel irrelevant, and no medication in the world can restore a lost sense of purpose. So, how do you stay sharp? You stay engaged. You keep learning, even if it's just a little at a time. You try to remember new names, not because you must, but because you can. You challenge your brain. You read something unfamiliar. You write by hand. You cook a recipe from memory. You tell your grandchildren a story, but this time you add more detail. You use your memory like a muscle because it is one. You also feed your brain. you stay hydrated, you get enough omega-3s, enough vitamin D, enough sleep, you move. Not just for your heart or muscles, but because movement increases blood flow to the brain. Walking, resistance training, stretching, anything that circulates oxygen through your system feeds your focus. That's not just fitness, that's neurological maintenance. And perhaps most critically, you connect. Because conversation is mental exercise. Every time you tell a story, your brain retrieves a file. Every time you respond, you organize thoughts. You listen, you react, you remember. That keeps the mind awake. But isolation? Isolation dims the mind, quietly and cruelly. So if your mind is still sharp, don't minimize it. Don't downplay it. Honor it. Because clarity is not just a sign of intelligence. It's a signal of alignment, of balance, of body, mind, and spirit still in dialogue, still showing up, still living, not just surviving. And if you feel your clarity slipping, don't panic, but don't ignore it either. Fight for it. Re-engage. Get curious again. Feed your mind the way you'd feed a muscle after injury. It's never too late to wake up the brain. Because no matter your age, it's still listening, still learning, still capable of surprising you. You are not forgetful because you are old. You are forgetful because something in you stopped being used. And that can change. Starting today, you can walk at a moderate pace for 15 minutes without pain. It may not sound like much. A 15-minute walk. No hills, no finish line, no medals. Just one foot, then the other. A steady rhythm. But if you can do that, if you can walk without stopping, without wincing, without gasping for air, that is not a small victory. That is a sign that your body is still working in harmony. And at this stage of life, that harmony is more precious than gold. Because walking isn't just movement, it's a full body systems check. Each step tests coordination, endurance, circulation, balance, lung capacity, and mental clarity. If something is off, walking will reveal it. A stiff hip, a tender knee, a foggy mind, a back that tightens, a gait that hesitates instead of flows. But if you can still move fluidly, you're not just mobile, you're neurologically intact. And that matters more than most people understand. Because endurance isn't about how far you go. It's about how many of your systems still cooperate. Your brain must plan. Your heart must pace. Your lungs must breathe deeply and exchange oxygen. Your vessels expand and contract. Your muscles fire in perfect order. Your joints absorb force. Your balance keeps everything upright. This isn't just exercise, it's a symphony. And when you can walk briskly for 15 minutes, you are still conducting that symphony with precision. But when walking begins to hurt, when your hips burn, your knees swell, your back clenches, or your breath shortens, that's not just aging. That's your body waving a red flag. It might be inflammation, weak glutes, shallow breathing, poor posture, even cognitive fatigue. And the worst mistake you can make is to accept that pain as your new normal. Because here's the truth. The moment walking becomes a chore, life begins to close in. Why? Because walking is freedom. It's how you reach the bathroom safely, how you make your coffee, how you go to the store, visit a friend, or stand in sunlight. When walking becomes difficult, your world shrinks. You go out less, you avoid stairs, you lean on others, you say no more often, and inch by inch your independence erodes. But here's the beauty of walking. It's both a diagnostic tool and a treatment. If it hurts, it tells you where to work. If you avoid it, your body begins to deteriorate faster than you'd expect. But if you embrace it, With patience, structure, and intention, walking becomes more than just motion. It becomes medicine. And unlike pills, it has no side effects. A consistent walking practice restores more than just your legs. It restores balance. It improves circulation, memory, digestion, mobility, even your mood. Yes, your gut improves when you walk. So does your sleep. So does your confidence. Because the human body wasn't designed just to move. It was designed to walk, not merely for transportation, but for preservation. Your hips are built to stride. Your knees are engineered to bend and propel. Your spine is aligned for motion, not stagnation. And when you gift your body that motion, daily, gently, consistently, you send a signal to every system. We're still here. We're still working. We're still capable. And understand, this isn't about speed, it's about pace. A steady, moderate pace, where you can still speak clearly, but you feel your body warming, your breath deepening, your mind sharpening. That is the zone where healing happens. That is where longevity is built. Not in gyms, not on machines, not with aggressive protocols, but by putting on your shoes and saying, let's go. If you can't walk for 15 minutes today, that's okay. Start with 5, then 7. Build slowly, add a minute or 2 each week, and track how you feel, not just in your knees or ankles, but in your thoughts. You may notice the fog lifting, the anxiety softening, the tension easing, because movement doesn't just stretch the body, it stretches the soul. It gives you back something precious, agency, a sense of control that time may have tried to take. And if you're already walking 15 minutes a day, protect that gift. Don't let comfort steal it. Keep walking. Vary your route. Add a hill if you're able. Walk with a friend. Walk in silence. Walk with intention. Because every step you take is a statement. I'm still in control. I'm still participating. I'm still alive. Fully alive. Because here's the truth. Once walking becomes painful, everything else becomes harder. Getting up, getting dressed, traveling, socializing, movement becomes a negotiation. Life becomes smaller. But if you can walk without pain, even for just 15 minutes, your future is still wide open. So treat your walk as sacred, not as a task, but as a testament to your endurance, your capacity, your quiet refusal to give in. 15 minutes may not sound like much, but it is everything. You can sleep through the night without medication. There's a kind of power that goes unnoticed. It doesn't wear medals. It doesn't trend on headlines. But it changes everything. Quietly, steadily, night after night. It's the ability to fall asleep naturally and stay asleep. No pills, no tossing and turning, no groggy, drugged feeling the next morning. Just deep, unassisted rest. The kind that heals. The kind that restores. And if you're still able to sleep like that after 70, that is not luck. That is a superpower. Because most people underestimate how vital sleep becomes as we age. Not just as rest, but as recovery. In later years, everything shifts. Hormones decline. The nervous system grows more sensitive. Pain lingers. Inflammation sneaks in quietly. And the only time your body is biologically programmed to repair itself is at night. But only if it reaches deep sleep. That rich, slow-wave state, where the brain clears debris, the muscles repair, and the immune system gets a full reset. Yet for most older adults, this kind of sleep becomes rare. They wake every 2 hours. They lie in bed, eyes open, staring at the ceiling. They shift, adjust pillows, drink water. Eventually, they give in to medication. And while sleep aids may offer short-term relief, they often do more harm than good. Because most sleeping pills don't induce real sleep. They induce unconsciousness. and that's not the same. Without the proper brainwave cycles, you lose the true benefits of sleep. Memory declines, focus weakens, immunity falters, risk of cognitive decline rises. So if you're still sleeping 6 to 8 hours, without pills, without constant waking, that's not just good enough. That's extraordinary. It means your body still recognizes its rhythm. Your circadian clock is still ticking. Your brain still knows when to shut down and when to rise. It means you're still cycling through the critical phases: light sleep, deep sleep, REM, and waking with clarity. This kind of sleep is protective. It flushes toxins from the brain, including beta amyloid, the compound linked to Alzheimer's. It balances cortisol, the stress hormone. It regulates blood sugar. It triggers growth hormone, which aids in cellular repair, bone density, and immune strength. This isn't just sleep, it's survival, it's strength, it's brain preservation, and most importantly, sleep restores emotional regulation. That's why well-rested people are calmer, clearer, and more resilient, especially when facing change, loss, or physical challenges. If you're wondering how to maintain or reclaim the gift of deep, unassisted sleep, know this. It starts long before bedtime. It begins with light. Morning sunlight signals your body that it's time to be awake, establishing the rhythm that tells it when to wind down later. It includes movement, even a light walk or a few gentle stretches. These reduce cortisol, the stress hormone, and promote melatonin production when the sun sets. It involves nutrition, limiting sugar and caffeine in the afternoon, getting enough magnesium, staying hydrated early in the day, and fueling your body with healthy fats. It's also built on consistency. Going to bed and waking at the same time every day, even on weekends. But perhaps the most overlooked ingredient is this: your relationship with stillness. Many seniors carry stress to bed, unspoken fears, past regrets, anxious thoughts about the future. And when that emotional tension is left unprocessed, it lingers in the nervous system, blocking the path to deep rest. So build a ritual. Journal before bed. Breathe deeply. Turn off the TV and silence the phone an hour before lights out. Stretch. Pray. Listen to calming music. Signal to your body, we are done for today. It is safe to let go. Because the truth is, you cannot force sleep, but you can invite it. You can create the conditions for your body to relax, not just physically, but emotionally. And when sleep comes, it does what no medication can. It restores you without effort, heals you without noise, and strengthens you silently from within. If you've lost the ability to sleep well, don't panic. But don't ignore it either. It's not just getting older. It's often a symptom of imbalance in blood sugar, hormones, emotional regulation, or nervous system function. And all of those, they can be improved. You don't have to live in a fog. You don't have to accept exhaustion as your baseline. Start rebuilding slowly. Cut the alcohol, add magnesium, dim the lights, cool the room, introduce stillness. Then give your body the message it's been waiting for. You're safe now. It's time to rest. And if you are one of the lucky, or rather, disciplined, few who still sleep through the night without pills, without interruption, without anything in your system but breath and peace, then protect that. Guard it with everything you have. Because that kind of sleep isn't just rest, it's medicine. It's memory protection. It's mood regulation. It's the difference between surviving and thriving. So don't underestimate it. Don't trade it for late night screens, extra caffeine, or shallow comforts. Protect your sleep. Because if you sleep well at 70, You move better at 75. You think clearer at 80. You stand taller at 85. And you remain fully alive at 90. And it all starts when the lights go out and your body whispers, "I've got this." You can stand on one leg for 10 seconds. Balance equals brain health. This simple test is more profound than it seems, because the longer you can balance on one leg without wobbling, the sharper your reflexes, the better your coordination, and the lower your fall risk, which is one of the most dangerous threats after age 70. So try it. Practice it daily. Train it like a life skill, because it is one you can say no without guilt. Emotional health is physical health. If you can set boundaries, if you can protect your energy and say no to what drains you, you're aging with clarity and wisdom. People who stay mentally clear and emotionally centered live longer, not because they avoid stress, but because they stop inviting it. You can still learn something new. The rarest gem of all, a mind that stays curious. If you're still learning new skills, new technology, new languages, new hobbies, your brain stays young. Because neuroplasticity doesn't end with age. It ends when you stop feeding it. If you're 70, 80 or beyond, and you're still learning, your brain is still building, and the body, it follows the brain. Always.